What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, and today we're doing something silly. This is all about just having a good time. I brought Whitney in to roast every single one of the bikes in my garage.
Yeah, it's gonna take 50 hours.
This video is powered by Flying Eyes. Whether I'm riding on-road or off, they're my choice of sunglasses thanks to their thin and flexible stems, so I can ride for hours with no pressure points. Click that link down in the description below and use the code SC10 for 10% off your order. All right, Whitney, we've got so much to cover. Let's just get started with this lovely 1998 Vmax right here, or what's left of it. The parts are up there.
I like how this is the bike that you started with. The skeleton, gotta call somebody on the line, get the carbs looked at. I'm getting high sitting right next to it. There's a bunch of crud in here. Don't worry, I promise everything will be okay. He'll take good care of you. Just give it a second.
Would it help if I told you I bought this for $700?
Dude, that is a steal.
Yes.
That is a steal. And what was the situation? The guy was just
So the
away?
guy originally had it listed for $1,500 because he said it was running. Then he was like, yeah, it's not running, so I'm gonna halve the price. So I pay you $700 for it, and I did get it to start on starter fluid. So I could hear the engine crank, I know it has compression, and all that stuff works, but
Here we are.
here we are.
Here we are. We paid $700 for your life to be a little bit harder.
This is a carbureted motorcycle with a fuel pump.
Yeah, so you're a masochist, right? But at the same time, I think that you, a million dads are living vicariously through your butt cheeks when you start riding this bike.
Oh yeah.
Because when I heard that you bought a Vmax, I was like, oh, yeah. Like, all right, because some of your stuff is a little beyond, you know more sport bikes than I've ever heard in my entire life. Mm-hmm. And so you like the niche ones on top of that, the harder to get ones. But this was just a banger.
Yeah.
This made all the moms melt. This was the bike, and I didn't understand it until I saw a Vmax commercial from the time that it came out.
The new 145 horsepower Vmax from Yamaha is like no other motorcycle you've ever seen before. But you may have noticed that.
And I was like, oh my God, that is a panty dropper bike. And of course, if you look at the panty dropper chart, it syncs up with the mortality of the bike, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
You know, where people put down V-boost as cause of death. But like, but this one, it's hard to roast because it's such a badass bike. Right now in its state, I still can't even roast it because I appreciate somebody who's gonna make their lives harder because of the Vmax. But
What would you rate it out of 10?
what would I rate it out of 10? Dude, the Vmax is a 69 out of 10. 69 out of 10. There were probably so many babies conceived on the seat of a Vmax.
Or immediately as a result of being on the seat of the Vmax.
Yeah, it probably hires your sperm count, if we're being honest.
4-cylinder carbureted motorcycle, liquid cooled, the ultimate panty dropper from the 90s to the ultimate nerd bike from forever.
The ultimate panty button-upper.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of sexy stuff about the Hawk 250
This is the
right here.
ultimate friend zone bike. You get immediately friend zoned if you buy this. Dude, I'm gonna be nasty to this bike because you spend a lot of time trying to convince me that it's a good bike. And I am not only naive about this bike, but I feel judgmental towards it inherently, so we're just gonna let that fly.
Why? What makes you inherently judgmental?
What is it, $1,000 on Amazon?
16?
Okay,
$1,600?
$1,600, and what are the service intervals? 60 miles?
No, it's an
100?
So the nice thing about this bike is that motor is from the 80s. It's a push rod air-cooled single-cylinder motorcycle that has been in thousands and thousands and probably even hundreds of thousands of bikes since the 80s.
Just, you know how many sick dirt bikes there are out there. Mm-hmm. There's tons from all manufacturers. And then there's this, which now if I am broke as fuck, I live in the middle of nowhere and I just need something to like poodle around, that's fine. I don't want to take this on the highway, and I also sort of don't want to take it to the dirt track.
Why don't you want to take it to the dirt
See, you're always saying that. And I'm like, because I've ridden the CRFs and I've ridden the Yamahas, the Kawasaki's, and the Hondas. So why?
Why because it's cheap. I got it for $800.
Like I said, I'm being naive and I'm being harsh. But goddamn, it doesn't look cool, and I don't like it.
So what are you gonna rate the
I'm gonna rate this a solid 2 out of 10. I'm gonna be so mean to it. I've never ridden it. I don't know. I'm just being judgy because it's a judgy kind of day.
Oh, poor Hawk.
It's got wires showing. Look at all these wires hanging out.
That's because the battery's not in it. Be nice to the Hawk. It's tender feelings. Speaking of nerdy motorcycles, we have the Kawasaki KR 650 right here, which is basically the grown-up version of the Hawk 250 when you think about it.
Oh, why do you say that?
Because it's a single cylinder, it's been around since the 80s, it's barely changed in its 50-year production run, and I mean, it's making twice as much horsepower, so it's like the evolved form of the Hawk 250.
Yeah, but this is my apocalypse bike, and the Hawk 250 is not my apocalypse bike.
Really?
Well, it's so funny. Every time I think of this bike, I think about us on the highway, and I'm like, Spike, something's wrong. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll look at it. And I get off, and I notice the tires on it are just absolutely trashed, and you go take its first spin, you're like, oh, shit. Yeah. Because what had happened to the knobs? Like the knobs had scalloped or whatever. They were like,
so
had zero traction.
I had originally some really gnarly dirt bike tires on this because that was all I could get my hands on in a quick, fast, in a hurry kind of way. I finally put actual really good tires on here.
Yeah, these look good.
These are good adventure tires. They're a perfect match for this motorcycle. So it's definitely a lot less sketchy feeling.
It was like trying to ride an elephant wearing high heels. Like it felt so bad. It felt so bad at 70 miles an hour. I was like praying a little bit, like please don't crash the KLR. Even though we both know it would be totally fine.
Oh yeah, you could drop this thing off a cliff and it'd be fine. This is like the biggest cage I could possibly buy for this motorcycle. It weighs like 40 pounds because the one thing the KLR needed was to get heavier.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But also I don't remember what type of car, because now it's a while ago, but what type of car I was trying to pass. So I like hit the throttle all the way and then the car just blew by me. And I was like, man, throttle's all the way and that's it. That's all it's got.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of get up and go to the KLR. But one of the reasons why I like it is because I thought it looked really cool.
You think it looks cool?
Yeah, don't you?
No.
No?
What are you talking about? It looks cool. Maybe if you were in Vietnam crushing some like gnarly river passes or something, it would look cool. To rate it, because of it, it's got a huge cult following.
Oh yeah.
KLR is backed by many strong Viking-like men who will die on the KLR hill.
And forum dads.
And forum dads and dads in general. So for that, I'll give it a solid 7 out of 10.
Well, I mean, the 69 out of 10 for the Vmax, that's like ultimate number.
That's ultimate. I mean, we started with the best bike.
Next is my Motoi GRizo right here. And this motorcycle I liked so much when I did my video on it that I traded my Ducati that same day for this bike.
I cannot get over how you don't like the R9T, but you like this. But I will say I have not ridden this.
Yeah, we have to. We need to film an entire video of you coming and checking this thing out, just because I want to hear what you have to say with regards to how it rides. Because this is one of my favorite bikes I've ever owned because it's just so unique.
It looks like an R9T. Like if you saw this flying by you, you'd be like, oh, was that an R9T? I mean, it's got that same like squat sturdiness. It's got the big jugs hanging out, not as far. This is, like I was saying, this is an esoteric nuanced choice for you, because you are the ultimate bike nerd, and that's why we all love you and watch your channel, because it's like a Moto Guzzi. What are you talking about?
So I do want to start this up just so that you can watch what it does, because this is
ears out.
It's not that.
Oh, okay.
It's loud, but it's not that loud. It's the whole shake and rattle. But the sound is not an R9T.
Is this a stock pipe?
So this right here is an aftermarket pipe, and because it's a Moto Guzzi, it's on the wrong side, so you're seeing B-roll of it right now. But,
okay, so what does it sound? Does it still sound better than a stock R9T stock?
oh my God, yes. The R9T sounds like a fart cannon to me.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
You're an audiophile though when it comes to exhaust, which I totally understand. But how do we rate this? Because it is so nuanced.
this is the weirdest bike I've ever owned, sure.
It is the weirdest bike you've ever owned. Also, I just think it's so funny. You hate the R9T, but you landed on this. I think that's so funny.
Maybe, okay, how about this? We'll rent an R9T for a day, and we'll ride this back-to-back with the GRizo, and we'll see whether or not it feels any different than an R9T. But number rating, how are you gonna rate this guy?
Without riding it, 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, there we go.
8
now
out of 10.
we gotta throw down the gauntlet. I promise we'll rent a R9T that's as close to this, and we'll get you to ride them both back to back and see what you think.
Yeah, I'm like, I would know right away what my feelings were on this. I like how low the seat height is too. It looks squatty.
It's a
Squatty
comfy
potty.
cruiser that can handle a corner, and that's exactly what I wish Harley would build. But, you know, Moto Guzzi did it for me.
Here we are. Give Moto Guzzi money instead.
Yeah, it's about as reliable. Zing!
Oh, zing! Zing-a-lingus! So many of my opinions were changed working at the last channel. And this was one of them, because I was not excited to ride it. I thought it was ugly. I still think it's ugly, but...
Oh, no. You can't start this segment saying that the Hornet is ugly, Whitney. That's not allowed.
What do you mean it's not allowed? I love the 60s and 70s CB line. I had an early 60s bike. The 50s Hondas were sick too, but like, no.
What about it don't you like?
All of it.
All of it?
I don't like any of it. It's hard to know where to start.
That's rough.
I know. Well, this is why I was always the black sheep at the last channel too, because I'm like, that bike is ugly. That bike is ugly. But it doesn't matter when you ride this bike. This bike I'll just always remember getting absolutely roasted for not liking the Z900 RS as much, because I was like, dude, it's night and day. It's absolutely
really is.
night and day. And spec sheet warriors, you will make them so angry saying that, but it's just like, no, it doesn't have the same planted feel. It's a heavier machine. It's so smooth.
And the motor is really nice.
I was about to say, it was like they don't make engines like that anymore.
Nope.
They don't. And that's why this bike is super sick to me. And this is the bike I want Lucas to come ride.
Yeah.
Because it's the bike that you want all your friends to ride. You're like, dude, you gotta ride this bike. And I was so resistant to hop on it, but then you do and you see what all the fuss is about.
Because this, as much as we joke about bikes having character and soul, this one really does have something different about it.
And it's funny, all we can do is tell you that.
Yeah.
And then people will go, no, you're wrong. And you're like, no, man, you gotta ride it. And then we'll start our destination Airbnb where you have to compare this to the Z900 RS.
And then you'll realize that
you've been wrong this whole time. All
so
right.
a letter or a number rating out of 10.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10, even though it's
I
ugly.
almost want to give it a 10 out of 10, but it's ugly to me.
This one is my current favorite.
This one?
This one is my current favorite in the whole garage.
Crazy.
In the whole garage, this
crazy.
is my current favorite. So this is my 2006 CBR 600 F4i.
Another esoteric niche choice that totally blows my mind.
So the cool thing about this is in the early 2000s, you had naked bike and sport bike sitting right next to each other. So we had the Hornet 600 and then we had the CBR 600 R. So both of those were sitting right next to each other. And then Honda was like, well, what if we made a fully fared sport bike that also looks kind of cool? And so, hence this. It's supposed to be a more streetable, slightly more torquey, inline 4 that can handle the twisties like a super sport.
And does it?
It's pretty good, yeah. I really like the way it handles.
You don't ever say pretty good very often.
It's pretty good. So the main issue that I have is that it's currently, the suspension is set for a 90-pound woman.
Oh.
Not a 250-pound dude.
Because that's where you bought it from?
Yeah, actually I did.
That's what I was about to, like, you wouldn't say that unless you bought it from somebody like that.
Yeah, it was lowered, it didn't run, so I restored it, it's
Okay,
running,
good.
and I bought a set of Repsol Honda fairings to go on this.
You did not.
I bought a
You
set of
did not.
Repsol Honda fairings to go on here.
Orange?
Orange and white with the Repsol livery on it.
So what do you do about the tank and then the
It's
tail?
got a cover that goes over it.
Okay, you told me about these mirrors real quick.
Yeah.
These are the $30 ripoffs of
They're the $30 ripoffs of the Rizomas that are like $200 a mirror. Those mirrors are stupid expensive.
They're
in the
stupid
real form.
expensive and you can't see shit out of them either.
They're there just so that it passes inspection.
This is a cool bike though. Like if you told me you bought this, I was like, you bought a what? Mm-hmm. A hoot nanny? And it's cool, it's different.
But this one is cool because it was the first bike that I bought not running, and I got it to run again.
But it was
and it
a
runs great.
headache, right? Because you were you were digging into a ball of wax, and it turned out to be the.
It turned out to be a series of things.
Oh.
So the problem is it wouldn't prime. So there's a whole bunch of electrical problems on a fuel-injected motorcycle. And this one had a really stupid anti-theft measure that is this little tiny diode that is so easy to miss. And if you don't have it, bike no work.
And did you have it?
I bought one and then I put it in there. So it took a lot of work, but
Yeah, I
bike
feel
runs.
like taking this on as a project as a whole, like, you got to know what's going on.
And I didn't.
And
But
he didn't, and there's only one way to find out.
And I managed to make it work. So that's currently why this one is my favorite, just because it was such a rewarding project.
I was about to say, it's rewarding, it's satisfying,
Yeah.
you feel good, it was a good deal.
Go ahead and rate this bike for me here.
I would rate it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Without riding it.
Without riding it.
riding it. That's where I gotta start riding these bikes to really give it a proper.
But that's the whole point of today's, which is the knee-jerk
Just
reaction.
the knee-jerk reaction of some noodlehead. That's me.
And with that note being said, let's call it a day. This one's been a lot of fun,
This
and
is
we
fun.
definitely need to get you out on some of these motorcycles.
I'm excited. I'm excited to try these bikes out.
Well, guys, catch you in the next one. Let us know your thoughts. Which ones did you enjoy? Which one is your favorite in the fleet? Which one are you most excited to see on the channel in 2024? We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.